Okay, geometry, this is our one theorem we have, and this is theorem 2-1. If M is a midpoint of AB, then AM is congruent to MB. And this is a theorem, so we can prove it. So let's go with M. So M is a midpoint of AB. That is our first statement. It is given to us. And so I can say that that has been given. It's in the direction part right here. So these are called our statements, and this is called our reason. Okay, so I'm allowed to make this statement that M is a midpoint of AB because, well, it was given to me up in the directions there. So I want to know if AM is congruent to MB. Well, you might need to draw a picture so you can see this thing. So let me draw our segment, or our line. So there's my line. And let's put an end thing on there. Okay. So I have my line. And then I need some points on there. Okay, so there's a point. So you can hold B. Oops. Okay, there's another point. And there's another point. Okay. Okay, so M is the midpoint of AB. So here's A, here's B, and M is the midpoint. So M is in the middle. So we want to make sure we place M so that it is in the middle. Okay, so M is the midpoint of AB. Okay, by definition, if M is the midpoint of AB, then we know that AM has to be equal to MB. And that's by the definition of midpoint. Okay, the definition actually states that if M is a midpoint of AB, then it divides segment AB in half. Okay, so we know that AM has to be equal to MB if it's dividing it in half. So we just use the definition of midpoint there. And then if we want to get to congruent, because this is not equal, this is congruent. So we want to say this part up here. Okay, so we want to say that those two are congruent, and we have to have our segment marks over top of them. We can now say that, and we say that because of the definition of congruent, which says if two things are congruent, then they have the same measure. And so that's what we set up above. The measure from A to M is equal to the measure from M to B. And so we can now say that they are congruent because the definition of congruent gets us there. So that's our short proof, and that's how in depth our proofs are going to have to be.